Hello, Victory Village, and welcome back to another episode. I am your hostess with the mostest, Twanna Y'vette, and I have something a little different today. But I knew y'all were gonna do this to me. I knew y'all were gonna do this to me. When I checked my email, and I was like, the story is all over the place, and I just bet you that somebody is going to get me. And you did. You did. My husband quit his job to mourn the death of his mistress. Uh, you know, let's just get into the story, okay? So, a woman has disclosed the challenges she's facing in her home as her husband continues to mourn her or his mistress, excuse me, who happens to also be married, right? So, a married husband was cheating on his wife with a married woman, and of course, she would be cheating on her husband. But if you haven't heard this story, let's jump right into it. So the story says that my husband is in mourning over his dead mistress 3 months ago. The woman who was having an affair with my husband died suddenly from an accident. I found out about the affair only 2 days after her funeral. I thought that she was simply a coworker, and I was wondering why my husband was so disturbed and emotional. He quit his job saying that it was too traumatic to go to work. She was in the early weeks of pregnancy when she died, and my husband doesn't know whether he or her husband was the father. Oh, God. So, on top of everything, he's also grieving for a baby which may not be his. So, I find it extremely difficult to be emotional or emotionally supportive, actually, when he wakes up at 3 a.m. crying and trembling. Yes, I have the heart to yell at him like I want to, but I won't do it. She says that he says she's dead, so there's no reason for me to feel jealous or threatened and ask for my understanding as he grieves. So he wants understanding from his wife, and there's no reason why his wife should be jealous or feel some type of way because the woman is no longer living. Right. So, moving on, we've barely talked these last weeks because I don't know how to respond to my husband when he cries and says he misses her and he wishes that she were here. Then also how much he loves me and that he never intended to leave me. I asked him to visit a marriage therapist together, and he said he's not ready to work on our marriage, and he thinks he needs to see a grief therapist instead. Do I need to give him time to mourn the loss of his mistress, or should I demand he focus on our marriage? Lady, see, how do I put this? How do I put this gently? Have you ever heard of a divorce? Okay. This man had the audacity to admit that he was having an affair. And I feel like, in my mind, I feel like the only reason you know that this man was having an affair because the woman had an accident and she lost her life. Had she still been alive, do I think your husband would have came clean? No, because he was already getting away with things. So why would he, you know, tell you? Plus, he said that he was never going to leave you, his wife. So he was just going to have his cake and eat it too. And this charade was going to go on. He probably was going to have a whole nother family outside of you guys because a baby was coming. And um, how was she going to get a paternity test or any of this stuff? Like, it's too much low down sneaking around and all of this kind of stuff. You have to be really careful who you jump, dive, fall, sprint in love with, these days because people are not honest. And that clearly men and women, it's not just the men, it's men and women. There has to be something going on in a woman's relationship for her to actually cheat. So that means that her husband wasn't giving her enough time, or, he was not there emotionally. There was something that she was getting from your husband that she wasn't getting from her husband. Now, here's the thing. Normally, men don't have a reason to cheat. They can just cheat. They don't care. I just want to know if I still got it. But emotions were involved at this point. He's emotionally attached to this woman and secretly wishing that the baby was his because he loved her so much. If he didn't love this woman, he wouldn't be in mourning. And if he did it once, I'm sorry, he'll probably do it again. So in my opinion, the best thing to do is to get a divorce. Don't ever use your children also as a mechanism to stay in a marriage, because if you're not healthy and happy, healthy up here and in here, you know what? Your kids they're gonna feel it. They're gonna know it. And why put yourself through all of this? Why, as soon as my husband had told me some mess like this, somebody's bags would have been packed. Now, some of y'all might disagree with me. Maybe I have the unpopular opinion, but that's just how I feel about the whole situation. I mean, seriously, me, myself, I'm not staying married to somebody who just said, oh, you know what? I was in a relationship with a woman and we were coworkers, but we were more than just coworkers. And she was pregnant, and I don't know if the baby was mine or her husband's, but I'm mourning her because, she died, and I loved her. But I love you too. I love you too. And I was never going to leave you for her. But right now, I just need time to mourn. And maybe I need to see a grief counselor. All of it sounds like bull to me. All of it. If you weren't planning on leaving your wife, that means that you were going to continue to cheat on her with this woman. Now, what if her husband had found out? People die over stuff like this. Her husband could have been, just an aggressive beast and came to your house and took you out. And your wife would have been like, what is going on? What happened? Well, your husband was sleeping with my wife. And I'm sure they weren't sleeping, but we're going to leave it like that for YouTube, okay? Anyway, that's just me. That whole story, the first time I saw somebody commentate on this story, I kind of giggled, but then I thought about it that, you know what? This could be anybody. This could happen to anybody. And this man had all of this stuff going on. This man said, he was mourning after the funeral and he quit his job. And the wife says, I thought she was simply a coworker. And I was wondering why my husband was so disturbed and emotional. He quit his job, saying that it was too traumatic to go to work. She was in the early stages, the early weeks of pregnancy when she died. And your husband doesn't know if he or her husband was the father. You don't even have to talk to me anymore after that. After that sentence right there, after that, admission of sin, after that little, 50% conversation, are you leaving or am I? Because we're done. You're fired. We're done. You are fired, sir. You quit your job, at the place. But you're getting fired from here. That's all I'm saying. I just don't have. You're not going to go to a grief counselor on me for your mistress. You know what this reminds me of, you guys? This reminds me, and I don't know how many of you watch the Braxton Family Values, but I remember the first season when the Braxtons, had their show, and I was so excited about seeing this. So between the first and the second seasons, we heard about Evelyn's marriage and how they split up and why she just really hated this man so much. Well, he divorced Evelyn and married Miss Wanda, which happened to be his mistress. When Evelyn found out about Wanda, she went to her husband and was like, you're gonna break up with this woman. We have children and you're the pastor of the church. I'm the first lady. I'm the choir director. You're not fixing to make us look like fools. Little did she know, people in the church already knew what was going on. They had their speculations about it. And in the end, Miss Wanda ended up, graduating from the side chick to the wife. Which, if this woman in this story had not lost her life, God rest her soul, guess what? The same thing could have happened. I don't believe in, happenstance and, a coincidence and all that kind of stuff. Everything happens for a reason. And all I'm saying is, if you find yourself in a situation like this, you better think long and hard, because it may not turn out the way you expected. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. Leave me some stuff in the in the chat. Let's have a conversation about this, okay? Leave your comments. Please like the video. A thumbs up really helps my channel. It helps me stay here. It helps me stay, numero uno for the Victory Village. So big thumbs up. Don't forget to share this with somebody. The more eyeballs we get on this video, the better, because, we're going for that silver plaque, okay? So we got to like, we got to share. If you haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell for your girl, and hang around, because I know you like good commentary, and I know you like good reactions, and, all of the things. So you don't want to miss anything. So go ahead and slap that bell too, so you're notified every single time I drop a video. Thank you for always thinking of me when you send me this stuff via email or Twitter inbox. I really appreciate it, because I don't have to go hunting for all of these stories. Like, you guys really help me out with that, and I so appreciate it. So if any of you ever have a story that you want me to cover, or a funny video, or, something that you want me to commentate on, let me know. I don't just do, the happy. I do the sad. I do the encouraging. I do the motivating. But, I just cover, a gamut of things or whatever. So sometimes we're laughing over here, but sometimes we can get a little serious too. Today, I guess I was playing the role of Dear Abby, but I knew it. I knew y'all were going to get me with this story, because it was out. Too many people were commentating on this story. I knew I was next in line, but I always take a challenge. I'm not scared. I am the boss commentator in these streets. But don't tell nobody. Guys, be careful out there. Mask it up. Use your hand sanitizer. Wear some gloves at the pump. Don't forget to always live on purpose. And you know what? I will talk to you guys in the next video. I love you. Bye, Village.